The harmattan wind whistled softly through the dusty streets of Kano, its dry fingers brushing against faces, whispering secrets only the sand seemed to understand. I had just closed up my modest shop, a small business selling handmade leather bags and sandals in Sabon Gari. Though evening was setting in, the market buzzed with life, vendors calling out prices and customers haggling over items with practiced precision. That was when I noticed it, a letter tucked neatly under the mat by my door. It was a simple envelope, worn and dusty, addressed to me in careful, slightly shaky handwriting. My name, Adamu. My curiosity flared. Who would send me a letter? In this day and age, letters were rare in Kano. I looked around, searching for a possible sender, but no one seemed to pay me any attention. Inside the shop, under the dim light, I carefully opened it. The letter was brief, but mysterious. Adamu, I may be a stranger, but you need to listen. Life holds secrets, even for those who think they've seen everything. Go to the Kofarmata dye pits at dawn tomorrow. Your destiny waits for you there. I held the letter in my hands, rereading the words as if they would make more sense a second time. A chill ran down my spine. The dye pits? Why there? Why me? As night fell, I couldn't sleep. I thought about throwing the letter away, ignoring the instructions, but something about it gnawed at me. There was a pull, an invisible thread tying me to the words on that dusty paper. The next morning, with a heart both nervous and curious, I made my way through Kano's narrow alleyways toward the ancient Kofarmata dye pits, where the indigo dyes soaked deep into the earth. The pits were old, centuries old, and their history seeped into the air, thick and unyielding. I reached the place just as the first golden rays of dawn touched the ground, casting a warm glow over everything. The air was heavy with the scent of dye and clay, and there, standing by one of the pits, was an old man with a face lined by years and stories I could never know. His eyes caught mine, and he nodded. "You came," he said, his voice soft but with a weight that commanded attention. "I am Musa. Your father sent me here, Adamu." The ground seemed to shift under my feet. My father? He had passed away when I was just a boy. Memories of him were faint, hazy as dust, yet they lingered like the scent of the dye. The old man continued, "Your father and I were close friends. Many years ago, before he died, he entrusted me with something to pass on to you when you were ready. He said you would know the right moment." He held out a small leather pouch, bound with a faded red cord. With trembling fingers, I accepted the pouch, opening it slowly. Inside was a folded piece of paper, yellowed with age, along with a small polished stone, smooth and dark. I unfolded the paper. It was my father's handwriting, unmistakable. The words, though faded, held a clarity that spoke directly to my heart. "My son, if you are reading this, then I am no longer by your side. I know you may have forgotten much about me, but I want you to know I loved you deeply. I left this world with regrets, choices I made for which I had no other way out. But in you, there is hope, a chance to mend the bond our family lost many years ago. Go to Baking Kogi, the Black River. The stone you hold will guide you. Remember, sometimes our past lies in the water, the Black River." A chill ran through me, as memories of a story my mother once told me drifted back. She would speak of Baking Kogi, the river where spirits whispered to the living, where secrets lay buried under the currents. Musa interrupted my thoughts. "Your father made mistakes, but he hoped you'd find a way to heal what he could not. Go, Adamu. Find the river." I left the dye pits with the letter and stone clutched tightly in my hand, unsure what to believe, but compelled to see this journey through. The Black River was not far, a small, dark stream winding its way through rocky land on the outskirts of the city. I arrived as the sun rose higher, casting ripples of light across the water. Standing by the edge, I took out the stone, its smooth surface reflecting the sunlight, and then, without knowing why, I threw it into the river. The stone cut through the water, leaving ripples that danced outward in rings. But as they faded, something unexpected caught my eye, a faint shimmer like something glinting below the surface. Curiosity drove me forward. I waded into the water, reaching down, and my fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. With a tug, I pulled out a small, rusted box. The box was old, covered in a layer of grime and mud, its surface etched with designs that looked oddly familiar. I pried it open. Inside were bundles of letters, all addressed to my mother. I staggered back, shock gripping me as I opened one of the letters. The words leapt off the page. "My love, forgive me for what I must do. Our lives are not as simple as they seem, and the choices I've made were never truly mine. I am bound to this land, to its debts, to its sorrows. But I swear to you, one day our son will understand. He will know the truth. Page after page, my father's words poured out, stories of promises he had made to save our family, sacrifices that left him in debt to powerful people, choices that drove him to a darkness he could not escape. As I read, tears prick my eyes. My father was not the man I had known in my faint memories. He was a man bound by duty, by love, and by regrets he never wanted me to carry. Finally, I came to the last letter, which read, "To my son Adamu, you must not live in my shadow. You have a life of your own, one free from the mistakes of the past. This world will challenge you, but remember, you are stronger than the struggles I faced. Forgive me, and let this be the end of the weight you carry." I knelt by the riverbank, clutching the letters close to my heart. For years, I had lived with an unspoken resentment toward my father, a man I thought had left us without reason. But here, by the Black River, I found something greater. Understanding, a bridge between us that time could not destroy. As the sun climbed higher, casting a warm glow over Kano, I felt a lightness within me, a new path unfolding. My father's story, though filled with sorrow, had gifted me a release. I could finally be free. I returned to the city with the letters, my heart lighter than it had been in years. I placed them in a small shrine in my home, a reminder of the journey I had taken, a journey that had started with a stranger's letter, but ended with the discovery of a father's love. In that moment, I understood the strength of legacy. Not in burdens we inherit, but in the love we carry forward, in the choices we make to build a better future. And with each new day in Kano, I vowed to honor my father's memory, not by holding on to his shadows, but by walking forward into the light he had wanted for me all along.